Have you ever noticed how some people seem to bloom after 80, while others begin to fade away quietly? We've all seen seniors who carry a kind of light, those who still laugh freely, think clearly, and move with ease. They radiate something rare, joy, wisdom, and resilience. And they do it not in spite of their age, but because of it. Meanwhile, others, just a few years younger, feel stuck, tired, disconnected, as if life has quietly started closing in. This contrast raises a powerful question. What truly makes the difference in life after 70? It turns out it's not about expensive supplements, perfect genetics, or even having the best healthcare. The difference often comes down to a handful of quiet habits. Daily choices that shape not just how long we live, but how well we live. These are the habits of wise elders, those who embrace senior wellness not as a trend, but as a way of being. And that's what this video is all about. If you've ever wondered what's possible in your later years, if you've ever hoped for more energy, more clarity, more connection, you're in the right place. Today we'll explore 5 essential lessons drawn from seniors around the world who have lived long, meaningful lives. Their stories offer more than elderly advice. They offer a roadmap for anyone seeking vitality, joy, and purpose in life after 70. And if you're ready to reclaim your next chapter with strength and intention, stay with me. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe for more stories and insights on senior health, longevity, and living fully. And let us know in the comments, what's something you're still curious to do or learn? Now let's begin with the first piece of senior wisdom, one that has kept the minds of many elders sharp, vibrant, and young for decades. Lesson 1, stay curious because your mind still wants to grow. Let me tell you something I've come to believe deeply, quietly, and with every fiber of who I am. Curiosity doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the alive. And if you're still breathing, still waking up to new mornings, still wondering what might happen next, then that means you're still alive, which also means your curiosity still matters. I learned this truth from a woman I never met, but who has stayed with me for years. Her name was Nola Ox. She was 95 years old when she walked across a graduation stage in Kansas, earning her college degree, smiling under her cap like she had just won the world. She didn't do it for headlines. She didn't do it to prove anyone wrong. She did it because she loved learning. At a time in life when the world tells us to slow down, Nola opened up her mind, sat beside students nearly a century younger, and kept asking questions. And when they asked her what was next, she said, "I'm applying to graduate school." That story, it hit me hard because it reminded me of my own grandmother, quiet, wise, always with a mystery novel tucked beside her armchair. Even in her final years, she was still trying to learn how to use email, not because she had to, but because she wanted to understand the world her grandkids lived in. There's something powerful about that spirit. It's what I call elderly wisdom. Not just knowing things, but choosing to keep learning, even when no one expects you to. And science backs it up. Our brains, even in our 70s, 80s, and beyond, are capable of growth. The word is neuroplasticity, but to me it just means hope. Hope that every time I pick up a book, or ask why, or sit quietly with a new idea, I'm keeping something inside me alive. And if you're watching this, I think you want that too. Maybe no one's ever told you this, but your mind still wants to grow. Even if you've been retired for 20 years. Even if you feel like your memory isn't what it used to be. Even if everyone around you has stopped expecting you to be curious. You can ask questions again. You can explore again. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. You don't need a lecture hall. You don't need a textbook. You just need a spark. That little voice that says, "I've always wanted to learn how to play piano." Or, "I wonder what life was like in ancient Greece." Or even, "What's this TikTok thing my grandson keeps laughing about?" You'd be surprised what comes alive in you when you give yourself permission to wonder again. In Okinawa, where many elders live past 100, you'll find seniors who still mentor, teach, sing, and solve riddles together. They don't stop using their minds because they're old. On the contrary, they believe using the mind is how you stay young. And maybe you felt it too. Those quiet moments where your mind wakes up again. When you finally solve a puzzle you've been stuck on. When you hear a new perspective and it shifts something in you. When you teach someone younger and realize, oh, I know more than I thought. That, my friend, is senior wellness at its finest. Not just the health of your body, but the spark of your soul. So if your days have started blending together, if you felt numb or restless or just plain bored, this might be your sign. Your brain doesn't want to shut down. It wants to stretch. It wants to play. It wants to remember what it feels like to be amazed. And you know what? You deserve that. You deserve mornings filled with questions. You deserve afternoons where your mind feels alive, not just passing time. So here's a small invitation from me to you. What's one thing you're curious about right now? Not something practical, not something useful, just something that quietly tugs at you. Write it down, share it in the comments, or better yet, start learning about it today, because you're not too old. You're not too late. You're just in the next chapter. And curiosity, that's how you turn the page. Now, let's carry that spark into the body, because a curious mind is powerful, but a body that moves with joy, that's where the real magic happens. Lesson 2, move, because your body still has more to give. A few years ago, I met a man named Walter at a community center in Oregon. He was 84, sharp as a tack, and had the most peaceful energy about him. What struck me most wasn't what he said, it was how he moved. His steps were steady, light. He got up from a chair with ease. His hands were sure, even graceful. I asked him what his secret was. He smiled and said, "I move every day like my life depends on it, because it does." Walter wasn't a marathon runner. He didn't own workout gear. He just walked, he stretched, he gardened, he played fetch with his dog. Every day, rain or shine. That stuck with me, because somewhere along the way, we start thinking movement is optional after a certain age. We say, I'm too stiff. My balance isn't great. It's too late. But let me ask you something. What if movement wasn't just possible, but essential to living well in your 70s, 80s, and beyond? Senior health isn't about six-packs or speed. It's about mobility, independence, confidence. It's about being able to get out of bed without fear, to carry your groceries, to dance at your granddaughter's wedding. In Sardinia, one of the world's blue zones, you'll find shepherds in their 90s still walking steep hills, tending goats, fixing fences. Not because they're health nuts, but because it's just how they live. Movement is part of their day, not a separate task. And the science, it's crystal clear. Even 15 to 30 minutes of gentle movement each day, like walking, Tai Chi, or light yoga, can strengthen your heart, improve your balance, reduce the risk of falls, ease joint pain, sharpen your mind, and even lift your mood. Let me say this clearly, you don't have to do it perfectly, you just have to do it regularly. One woman I know started by walking to the end of her driveway and back. That's it. Then it was 2 driveways, then a block. Now she and her neighbor walk every morning, rain boots, big scarves, and all. And she told me, it's not even the walk. It's the feeling that my body still works, that I'm still here. Isn't that what we all want? To feel here? To feel alive inside this skin we've lived in for decades? So maybe today you stretch for 5 minutes before your coffee, tomorrow you walk during sunset, and maybe next week you put on your favorite song and dance in the kitchen. Just because you can, because movement is not punishment, it's proof. Proof that you're still choosing life. And if you've been still for too long, don't feel guilty. Just start now. One motion, one breath, one moment of choosing to move. Tell me in the comments, What's your favorite way to move? And if you're just starting, what's one small step you're willing to take this week? Now let's move from the body to something just as vital, the heart. Lesson 3, connect, because loneliness is heavier than age. I want to tell you something that isn't said enough. Loneliness is one of the most dangerous things a senior can experience, and yet so many elders live with it every day. Maybe your spouse is gone. Maybe your kids moved away. Maybe your friends aren't as mobile as they once were, and slowly the silence grows. Phone calls get shorter, holidays feel quieter, and you start to wonder, do I still matter to anyone? If you've ever felt that, I want you to know you're not alone in feeling alone, but also connection is still possible. Even now, in Okinawa, Japan, elders form small circles called moai, groups of lifelong friends who check in with each other daily. They cook together, laugh, share advice. That sense of belonging, it's a form of medicine, because connection, real human connection, is the strongest vaccine for aging I've ever seen. You don't need dozens of friends. You just need a few people who see you, hear you, remember you. I met a woman named Helen, 79, who started a coffee crew at her local diner. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m., she and a group of neighbors gather. Some talk, some just listen, but they show up for each other. She told me, that hour of laughter makes me feel younger than any pill ever did. And she's right. Study after study has shown that people with strong social bonds live longer, get sick less, and even recover faster. But more than that, they feel seen. So if your circle has shrunk, that doesn't mean it's gone. Call an old friend, invite a neighbor over for tea, join a group at your church, library, or local center, or even volunteer. Because when you give, you often receive even more. And yes, even online connections can be real. Video calls, book clubs, shared playlists. You'd be amazed how many ways there are to reach someone, even from a distance. So I ask you, who's one person you could reach out to this week? Just to say hello? Just to check in? Leave their name in the comments. And if no one comes to mind, maybe this is your sign to start building a new circle. You're not too late, and you're not forgotten. You matter. And now that your heart feels a little fuller, let's talk about something we do every day, but rarely with intention. Eating. Lesson 4. Eat with intention, because every bite builds your future. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my Aunt Linda a few years ago. She was 76 then, sharp as ever, but constantly tired. Her joints ached. She didn't feel like herself. She pushed her plate away and sighed. I don't get it. I eat fine. Nothing fancy, but I'm always exhausted. We looked at her meals more closely. Frozen dinners, white bread, sugary snacks she called her treats, coffee with 3 spoons of sugar, nothing terrible, but nothing truly nourishing either. So we made a gentle change, just one meal a day. She started cooking lentil soup with garlic and greens. She swapped cookies for blueberries and almonds. And she added turmeric to her morning tea, skeptically at first until she began to notice something. 3 weeks in, she said, "My hands don't feel like bricks in the morning anymore." 3 months later, she was walking more, sleeping better, and smiling again. That's the quiet power of food. In life after 70, your body listens more closely to what you feed it, and it speaks back in energy, in clarity, in strength, or in pain. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you, because senior wellness begins in the kitchen. Look at elders in the blue zones, places like Ikaria, Okinawa, Sardinia. They eat simply: vegetables, legumes, olive oil, herbs, whole grains, and small portions of fish or eggs. Rarely anything from a package. They don't follow strict diets. They follow tradition, and they eat with love, slowly, together. There's a reason their minds stay sharp and their hearts strong, well past 90. So no, this isn't about giving up everything you love. It's about adding more of what loves you back. Try this. Add one extra color to every plate. Red bell pepper, purple cabbage, green spinach. Use olive oil instead of butter. Eat slowly and stop before you're full. Trade soda for herbal tea or water with lemon. Share meals with someone because conversation nourishes too. Think of food not just as fuel, but as your daily medicine. Not in a restrictive, joyless way, but in a way that says, I care about my future, I care about me. You deserve to feel strong after 70. You deserve clarity, lightness, ease. And yes, you deserve delicious food that does more than just fill your belly. It should lift your spirit. Tell me in the comments, what's one small change you could make in your meals this week? Your body is still listening, and it's never too late to feed it well. Now let's move into the final and perhaps most beautiful lesson of all. Not about what you do with your body, but what wakes you up in the morning and keeps you going. Lesson 5. Find your purpose because you still matter. Let me ask you something quietly, gently. What gives you a reason to wake up each day? Not just to exist, but to live. For some, it's the scent of their garden. For others, it's a phone call with a grandchild. For many, that sense of purpose begins to blur after retirement, after the house empties, after the roles change, and suddenly, the days feel quiet, too quiet. I remember my neighbor George, 83, widowed and grieving. He used to sit on his porch with a faraway look, like he was searching for something he couldn't name. One afternoon, I saw him outside sanding a piece of wood. Birdhouse, he said, for the school across town. Turns out a local teacher had asked if anyone could make some. George built one, then 2, then 10. Soon he had a little workshop running. He told me, it feels good to be needed again. And I think that's the heart of it. We all want to feel needed, useful, like we still have something to offer. Because we do. You do. Whether it's caring for someone, sharing wisdom, writing letters, making art, cooking, planting flowers, telling stories, holding space for others. In Okinawa, they have a word, ikigai. It means reason for being. It doesn't have to be big or public. Sometimes it's the quiet thing you do that no one else notices, but you know it matters. Purpose is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. It gives shape to your days. It makes your choices clearer. It reminds you that your life still means something. So if you've lost sight of yours, that's okay. Purpose isn't one big epiphany. It's rediscovered in tiny moments. In listening to someone who needs to be heard. In writing down memories so your grandchildren know your story. In being the kind voice in a harsh world, you still matter. Your time still matters. And your story isn't done yet. In the comments, tell me, what brings you meaning right now? And if you're not sure, what small thing might you try this week to find it again? Your next chapter is still unwritten, and I believe it will be beautiful. Final reflection, you're still here, and that means everything. So here we are, 5 lessons, 5 small doors back into a bigger, brighter life after 70. Stay curious. Keep learning, not because you must, but because it wakes up your spirit. Move daily. Even a few steps remind your body that it still belongs to you. Stay connected. Your voice, your presence, your story, it matters to someone more than you know. Eat with care, because every bite can heal or hurt, and you deserve to be well. Live with purpose. You don't need a title or a job to have meaning, you just need heart. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You are not done. Not even close. You may not be who you once were, but maybe, just maybe, this is the moment you become someone even more powerful. A version of yourself that is wise, rooted, peaceful, and alive. So take the walk, make the call, ask the question, write the poem, try the new recipe, say what you've been meaning to say. This is still your life. And it's not over yet. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message touched you, share it with someone you love and leave a comment. What is one small thing you'll do differently this week to live more fully? We read every reply, and we're rooting for you, always. Until next time, stay well, stay curious, and never forget, your best days may still be ahead.